Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. People versus O.J. Simpson, Jayar Jackson from the Young Turks, Sam Schacher from Pop Trigger.
Should I do this
Linoleum,
too?
And What the Flick's Alonso, Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz. Welcome, the jury episode.
8, yes. 8. It was a jury in prison or something. I forget
Yeah.
the time.
Nice job playing with time with the jury. Like at the beginning, because you get there, they're all excited. I love the jury, and then they freaking hate each other.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't be tense under those circumstances? Like you're cloistered, you're sequestered, you can't read magazines that haven't been vetted, you can't watch TV at all.
You can't go to the pool.
You can't even go to the pool. Yeah. And it was interesting too to see also the racial tension within the jury, also how some of them distrusted.
Martin v. Seinfeld.
That was like the cultural differences too. Totally. Yeah, Martin versus Seinfeld,
totally,
and then
we'll be watching Seinfeld.
And then even it was interesting then on the flip side to see, and we'll get into that I'm sure, but the defense and the prosecution playing kind of like chess with the dismissal of the jury members.
Absolutely. I keep seeing, of course, in today's life, because I can only see today's life, but we're talking, 1994 again, right?
Yep.
So the amount of things that they have to keep, they kept the jury from television. I'm thinking about the way TV was, and from news, of course. So now, in 2016, to keep them from their phones, from, as we were just talking about, Snapchat and Twitter and then Facebook, how many things could fall between the cracks now if there's this kind of case, which there's going to be eventually. There's high-profile cases all the time where you have to keep the jury from finding anything out. It's almost impossible now.
Right.
Yeah, they'd have to confiscate the phones.
Yeah.
They'd have to,
any internet access would be verboten.
Yeah, I mean, they did it so well. Like you're psyched, the guy's so happy. You know when you
on
think
the bed, on the bed,
free of like any obligations for like 3 days, even though like you can already see like if you'd spend 4 days in that hotel, you'd be like, get me out of here. And then he pulls open the armoire. The armoire was great. What? It's just yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those movies where hell is a hotel room.
That's right.
It's like, oh, I can't get out of here. And it's even like the breakfast buffet just gets depressing after a while. And of course, I'm sure from the outside the idea of they got mad because some deputies got fired, but like that's your continuity.
That's right.
That's your link to the outside world, and you like some of them, you don't like some of them, and that's a huge deal.
Nice with the playing when the black woman got thrown off for not reporting domestic violence, and where Ito, in a rare moment of lucidity, recognized that. I'm pretty sure if the races were reversed here, you guys would be on different sides.
Oh, yeah.
different sides of this argument.
And I love the F. Lee Bailey. Well, technically marital rape wasn't illegal in 1988. You just said that out loud.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, spousal rape is okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
It wasn't at the time. It wasn't technically a problem.
Yeah. Unbelievable. But the thing that stood out to me the most in the episode was when we got to see the blood analysis and how the jury was uninterested, but then Robert Kardashian was finally convinced.
Yeah.
It was like the prosecution's case was so strong that he was like, oh my God, my friend did it. But then you pan to the jurors and they're like,
yeah, and Marcia is trying desperately to turn this into a narrative, because he's just all sciencey jargon, and she's like, okay, let's dumb this down and make it basic. Like, what does it say? Where'd you find it? Could it be anybody else? But then Scheck comes in and just.
Yeah, it was. But again, it starts with Fung, and Fung's with the handshaking. Oh my God!
I know.
No, again, it's one of those. Every week I say it. I was like, this couldn't have possibly happened in real life. There's no way. I looked it up again. I do it every time.
Yeah.
I look at real court footage from this trial, and I keep saying it. There's no way. They embellished. They went too far. It happened. It happened.
Well done.
I couldn't believe it.
Since you're looking stuff up, did you look up the account? Because it would be Kris Kardashian's account or Kris Jenner's account when her and Robert had that private moment in the kitchen where he said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Now,
that's the kind of stuff they're intuiting.
Okay.
Like they
so,
don't.
Well,
we
you
don't
read
know
the
if she
Tubin
never-
book. Is
Right,
it
but I
in
mean,
there?
well, I don't know.
She may have mentioned it in an interview. I don't know.
They may have mentioned it. That's not, as I recall. I read the Tubin book, but I read it so long ago. The Tubin book's really about the case. I don't think it's about. He didn't spend a lot of time.
The players.
It's not less about the players. So, and they've said that they're private conversations. We don't know what O.J. said to Johnny Cochran or when he was playing like how much of that stuff literally went on. But that kind of thing went on, and we are led to believe from the book, it's the daughter's don't say, the Kardashian girls, I don't know whether you're familiar with them, but they now, they say that there's an inference that their dad was conflicted. So that is certainly the kind of conversation that he had. And you see it at the verdict. I mean, just literally, not guilty. And Robert Kardashian is like, Jesus. What have we done? What have we done? What have we done? Yeah.
Wow. And can we give Marcia Clark major props when she had that line, if my memory serves me correctly, she's out there smoking and Johnny Cochran gets mad at her that she's playing hardball with the jury dismissals. And she says something, she goes, oh, toughen up, Cochran. This is the smoker's lounge. Childcare is on the first floor. I was like, drop the mic, rewind, watched it over. It was amazing. Amazing.
I like their, I don't know whether it's true, I don't know whether they came out of it totally hating each other, but I like their sort of simultaneous gladiator respect and contempt. But I like the respect. I like that they look at each other like they're like, yeah, we're trying to win.
Fuck you, but well played.
But you and I have this little thing going on where we're like, oh yeah, I see what you're doing.
I hear you take your coffee black.
Yeah, that was nice. No, that was nice.
Nice innuendo.
Also, with the speed of the trial, trying to get it done, the fact that it took back to the fatigue of the jury after 8 months at some point, at least, of being on trial or being sequestered for this long, you're trying to figure out when am I going to get out of here. So then it also leads to the way that the defense, of course, sent their case to make it, let's make this simple and straightforward and easy. Not only are they tired, they're mentally tired.
Sure.
So they don't want to hear anything complicated about the DNA results and the 1 in 150 million.
170, yeah.
170 million. Yeah, anything they can rule out, they want to rule out just to kind of streamline the process. And yeah, ultimately, as we find out, the whole thing of reasonable doubt. If you can find any tiny reason to doubt it, then that means you throw out the whole thing, which is not necessarily how reasonable doubt works, but that's how it worked with this jury.
And they've done a really good, because they've really gotten to what those who followed the case at the time were frustrated by, which was, why did you get bogged down in the things you got bogged? First of all, a lot of it's on Ito. I mean, the number of, we're gonna recess for the day. We're gonna recess for the day. We're gonna recess for the day. I mean, so much of that. Yeah. But Marcia Clark's explanation in the bar with the shot glasses,
right.
a couple episodes back, of they would have. So you're telling me that this conspiracy, it happened right then. This guy thought of it. I mean, because that more than anything, mishandled evidence, inconceivable, inconceivable. Also, because for the main reason he might have been in Hawaii, right? And why would they frame a guy? Been in Hawaii for a week and they don't know where he is. So it literally made, and yet at the trial, that argument never gets made, right? We end up, they kept sticking to it. And what I didn't know is I thought, because the verdict surprised me, even though I'd followed the case closely, is that for the main players from episode 4 or 5 on, we've had the Cochran's team thinking, oh, we're winning. And a clear recognition occasionally, the prosecution keeps having to fire themselves back up. No, we've got a thing coming. But they get it. They see
well,
what's
and
coming.
especially in this episode where, okay, fine, the glove thing didn't go well, but we've got the DNA. The DNA is going to really get us through. And once that falls apart, they're like, well.
And how crazy, because again, there was a special, and I brought it up a few episodes ago, where Marcia Clark had a one-on-one interview and was talking about the entire case where, and there was a former juror member on there and said, we didn't even bring up the blood analysis during our deliberation. And like Marcia Clark said in that interview, when she was talking about the blood analysis, thinking that she hit a home run, she remembers looking at the jury, and they showed that in one shot last night. She remembers looking at the jury and seeing that some of them were just completely not interested. They would rather see that visual of the glove. That was enough to convince them, rather than actual analysis. 1 out of what? 170 million?
But if the trial had lasted 4 weeks, or by the way, a week, the way many trials did, then they might have been. But also, this is 1994, it's 22 years ago. DNA was not in its infancy, but it was a toddler. And to most people, certainly most jurors, most people who don't pay attention following the law like that, it was foreign to them. Now, you don't have to go through all that, because you say to a jury DNA, and they know right away, we know what that means. That means the blood. That means the guy's blood was there, and it's
unassailable evidence.
We've seen the shows, the Forensic Files, and the dramas even that show we all know about DNA now.
DNA works the other way.
evidence and how it's perfect.
Right.
Yeah, and also, I mean,
And Lewinsky hadn't happened yet either, so.
That's right.
and I remember all of the talk about the majors that are blown up. Criminal justice majors were like skyrocketed after these types of things came out because everybody said, oh, I want to be criminal justice. Oh, I like doing that. That'd be awesome. Get a criminal. DNA. And they realized that you're just a scientist. And all those people that took those majors were going, oh, this is science.
Damn. All right, so we're down to 2 more episodes.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out how this trial ends.
Me too.
All right, so we'll be back next week.
I think he's going to get acquitted. I do. I don't think they have it.
Yeah, we'll put money on it.